All right, let's talk about something that's praised everywhere else, but in trading, it's a quiet poison. And just to be clear, this isn't about mindset, this is about delusion.
Just let that sink in for a second. We're told our whole lives, right? Have hope, believe in yourself, stay positive. But what if? What if that very instinct is what's killing your account?
So why? Why is the one thing everyone tells you to hold on to the very thing that's destroying your account? Look, we're going to get right into it because honestly, understanding this one single idea, it's the line in the sand. It's what separates the 95% who lose from the 5% who actually make it. It's time to cut through all that noise and get to the real truth.
Okay, first things first, we need to be super clear about what we even mean by hope in this context. I'm not talking about being optimistic about your trading career. No, this is about a very specific, very destructive behavior that creeps in when you're in a live trade.
So here it is. Hope in trading is when you stay in a losing trade with no real plan, running on pure emotion instead of evidence. It's not a strategy. Let's be real, it's what you fall back on when your strategy breaks down, or even worse, when you didn't have a real strategy to begin with. It's like this emotional safety blanket you grab because you just can't bring yourself to admit you were wrong.
And here's how it happens, step by step. First, your trade turns negative. Then, either you don't have a plan or you just ignore it. That's when hope sneaks in and takes over the decision-making. And what's the result? The loss gets bigger. It all starts the second a trade goes red. If your exit rules aren't set in stone, this vacuum opens up and hope just floods right in, whispering in your ear. Just hang on a little longer, it's going to turn around. But you have to understand, that little voice, it's just an excuse to avoid the sting of taking a small, planned loss.
Now don't think this is just some bad habit you can just stop. Oh no, this is way deeper. It's a psychological trap that we are literally wired to fall into.
Here's the real kicker. Your brain is programmed for survival, not for trading. They are two completely different things. Your brain, evolved over millions of years, sees a financial loss, especially one that's tied to your hopes and dreams, and it registers it as a direct threat to your survival.
And this is where the self-deception gets really good. What it feels like is patience, right? You tell yourself, I'm just being patient, I'm letting the trade breathe. But what it really is fear. Fear of loss. You're not being patient, you're paralyzed. You're paralyzed by the fear of making that loss real. You're just avoiding the pain of admitting you were wrong. So hope might feel like this noble virtue, but really, it's just a mask for fear.
You know, when your brain experiences that loss, it automatically snaps into problem-solving mode. It's a survival instinct. But here's the problem with that. You think problem-solving means taking another trade. Your brain screams, fix this now. But in the world of trading, fixing it usually means revenge trading. You just jump into another setup, no plan, no analysis, just to get rid of the pain from the last loss. It's this desperate scramble. And let's be honest, it almost never, ever works.
Okay, so that's the psychology behind it. But what does this actually look like on your P&L? Let's talk about the cold hard numbers, the actual price tag of hope.
Just look at this. That small bar on the left, that's a planned stop loss. It's just a business expense. You accept it, you move on. The big bar on the right, that's a hope-fueled loss. That's what happens when hope takes the wheel. You start moving your stop loss, right? You tell yourself, oh, it just needs a little more room to breathe. And just like that, a small, totally manageable loss spirals into a catastrophic one that wrecks your account.
And this is the vicious cycle it creates. It's not just one bad trade. Hope makes you move your stop losses. It makes you add to a loser, increasing your risk. That bigger loss then fuels revenge trading, and the trauma from that makes you gun-shy, so you hesitate and miss the next perfect setup. It is a domino effect, and it almost always ends in the same place, a blown account.
All right, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. How do the pros, the 5%, think differently? What's going on in their heads?
This is probably the biggest shift you have to make. The amateur mindset, they believe in a trade. They get emotionally invested. The professional mindset, they execute a system with a statistical edge. They don't believe in anything. They have a strategy that's been tested, that has a proven edge, and their only job is to execute it flawlessly, over and over again. They're not making predictions, they're playing the probabilities.
So, how do the 5% really think? Well, for starters, they fully expect to be wrong, a lot. And that's okay, because their losses are planned and accepted before they even enter the trade.
So when a loss happens, there's no emotional shock, no surprise. They replace all that positivity garbage with just clarity. They replace hope with pure focus. Their exits are completely mechanical, not emotional.
Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you make that leap from an emotional, hopeful amateur to a cool, mechanical professional?
The answer is actually pretty simple. When your rules are crystal clear, hope has nowhere to live. Think about it. Hope can only survive in a fuzzy, ambiguous environment. If you have a trading plan with a predefined entry, a non-negotiable stop loss, and a clear profit target before you even hit the buy button, well, there's simply no room for hope to mess things up. The decision is already made.
So this is your new mental framework. It's a 3-step shift. 1. Replace hope with rules. Stop hoping a trade will work and start defining the exact rules for it. 2. Replace belief with data. Stop believing in a setup and start trusting the hard data that proves it has an edge. And 3. Replace positivity with preparation. Forget trying to be positive during a trade. Be ruthlessly, obsessively prepared before you ever get it.
All right, we've covered a lot, but now I need you to really listen. I'm about to give you the hard truth, the core message of this whole thing. And I'm not going to lie, for a lot of people, this is a tough pill to swallow. The market doesn't reward your positivity. It couldn't care less that you have a great attitude. It doesn't give a damn about your vision board. It also doesn't reward your effort. The market doesn't care if you stared at charts for 10 hours straight. It doesn't care how badly you want this.
The market only rewards one thing: your discipline. That's it. That's the whole game. It's an impartial, brutal arena that only pays you for your ability to follow your rules without your emotions getting in the way. Period.
Hope is a luxury that traders simply cannot afford. It feels good, it's comforting, it even feels productive sometimes. But in this world of cold, hard probabilities and risk management, it's a liability you can't afford. You have to surgically remove it from your entire process.
So let me just leave you with this. Hope feels good, discipline makes money. And you have to ask yourself what you're really here for. Are you here to feel good, or are you here to make money? Because one of those is a feeling and the other is a result. Hope is for lottery tickets. Discipline is for trading.